Hi, this is Dr. MJ coming to you from beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. This is the Women in Dentistry podcast, where we feature women in dentistry making waves and leading the industry through the next decade. I am your host, Dr. Mary Jane Hanlon, a former dental assistant, dental hygienist, and now dentist. I'm very pleased to introduce you today to Dr. Irene Marron-Tarrazzi. Dr. Tarrazzi is a Board Certified Periodontist based in Miami, Florida. She was the first and youngest Vice President of the American Dental Association. She's had many accomplishments, including her recent awards as the 2018 Florida Dentist of the Year and the 2017 National Lucy Hobbs Project Award, Women to Watch. Dr. Marron-Tarrazzi is an adjunct faculty member at Nova Southeastern University and the University of Florida Halil Dental Clinic. She owns a private practice in Miami, Florida. She serves in many leadership positions within Organized Dentistry, including board member of the FDA section, Women Dentists Worldwide, Board of Trustee of the Florida Dental Association, and the Academy of Periodontology Women in Periodontics Task Force. She's also a past member of the ADA New Dentist Committee, an alumna of the ADA Institute for Diversity and Leadership, and a speaker for the ADA Success Program. She has served as president of the South Florida District Dental Association and treasurer of the FDA Political Action Committee. Originally from Venezuela, Dr. Marron-Tarrazzi studied dentistry at the Universidad Central de Venezuela. She completed her post-doctoral training at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where she earned her certificate in periodontology and the Master of Science degree in 2003. Dr. Marron-Tarrazzi earned her dental degree from Nova Southeastern University. It is now my pleasure to bring you to my interview with Dr. Irene Marron-Tarrazzi. Irene, it's so great to see you and have you be with my audience today. I've been really looking forward to having this conversation with you. You've done so much in organized dentistry, and you're an inspiration to many women that are out in the House of Delegates. So I can't wait for everybody to hear about your story. So without any further ado, if you could just tell us how you got into the field of dentistry, and then we'll do some questions after that.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to our channel. And also, don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Well, I think that my story is similar to others. My mom happens to be a general dentist. So I grew up in a house where, I would see my mom going to work every day, working with her patients, and I would spend an afternoon here and there at her office. But it was, I don't know, maybe I follow into her footsteps. I remember that I wanted to be an architect, that I wanted to do things always with my hands. And for some reason, when I was already in high school, I said, you know what? I really like the not just the dentistry, but the fact that you can be your own boss, have your practice, and have that independence. So I think that I grew up with a mother that worked every day, and I just saw myself doing the same.
Awesome. So you went right from high school to college, knowing what you wanted to do, and then right into dental school.
My story is a little bit different because I was born and raised in Venezuela, and I went to dental school straight out of high school to a 5-year dental program in Venezuela. So basically, I graduated very young. I think that I was 22 years old at that time. And I decided that because, I wanted to improve myself, I applied to several programs here in the US to do my dental specialty in periodontics. And I actually came to the States and then obtained my master's degree in perio at Chapel, North Carolina. And at that time, politically, the situation was not the best in my home country. And I remember that my father told me, why don't you do something else? Study a little bit more. And I went back to dental school after being a periodontist, and I did 3 years at Nova Southeastern University while I was teaching and obtaining my American dental degree. So I did it backwards, basically. It was not the typical.
Unbelievable. That's a great story.
Yeah, I started practicing in 2003, but basically it just took me, 6 years to finish all my degrees and all the necessary things. Yeah.
So you settled in Florida, is that correct?
Right. At that time, I have to say that I was single and I wanted to be closer to my family, and Florida seemed to be very attractive. I speak Spanish and I just, wanted to be closer to my family at that time, and Nova was the perfect fit.
Excellent. Now, did they move from Venezuela to the United States, or are they still in Venezuela?
Now they are here, but I have been here also 20 years. So yeah, with time, after I had my children, yes, your parents want to be close, and yes, they're here.
Oh, that's so nice. That's wonderful news. Absolutely wonderful news. So you started a practice, I'm assuming, or did you join a practice?
I did join, I did it all. I work as a traveling periodontist. I think that, a day or two a week while I started. I joined actually a practice as an associate with two periodontists that were established in the area. And I also actually joined a corporate office back then. I had basically 2 days here, 2 days there, and I was traveling because I needed to find my home. And I wanted to, that gave me the opportunity to be exposed to all the practice models, to say it in such a way. And at the end, I decided to stay as an associate with the two periodontists, and I stayed with them for 8 years. So one of them retired, and then X, Y, and Z things just didn't work out, and I decided to open my own. So I have been a solo practitioner for the past 8 years.
Very good. So tell us, so did you start the practice from scratch?
I did. And I have to say that it was a little bit scary at that time, but you know what? I regret not doing it sooner. So it worked out. It's great at the beginning. My husband was also studying at that time and I was working. So as soon as he finished with his residency and he started practicing, I told him, it's my turn. I want to open my own, and you know what? Now it's your turn to support me while I get started. And it happened. It happened quickly. I'm glad that I took that decision.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm so glad to hear that you did that, because so many women, especially, in fact, I think I shared before the podcast started that, there's so many women in dental school today that don't have the confidence to do that. And we'll talk more about that later, but I think that's important to understand that even though it was scary, you still did it anyway, and everything was fine. I think that it's the key is that we make these things into more than what they really are, and they're not as bad and not as hard as we make them out to be in our mind.
No, they're not. I think that we just need to step out of our comfort zone and just do it and not look back and just, take the risk and commit. And we work hard. We went to school. We did it. So we can do it again. It's not that complicated.
Absolutely. So tell us how you got into organized dentistry, because I know your path through organized dentistry has been stellar, and it would be nice to share that with the audience.
Well, when I was starting to practice, I was living in Miami, but practicing in Fort Lauderdale. So I decided to join my local affiliate, and I started attending the meetings. But again, everybody knows each other, and they're happy to meet their friends. So at the beginning, I was kind of an outsider, and I brought a friend along, and I continued to go. And one day it was funny because somebody was saying, we're very concerned. Where are the younger dentists? They're not coming. Any suggestions? And it was like my second or third meeting, and I raised my hand and I said, you need to be more welcoming. That would be nice because, we're new and we don't know anybody. And it's funny, but it was it. I think that immediately they, I guess, maybe realized that I was outspoken and I could bring them some ideas, and they recruited me. We need your help. Come and join us. And that was it. That was really what it happened. They just wanted the insight, the perspective of the younger dentist. And I think that's how it all started. Well, and then since then, basically one thing to, I continue to volunteer to help, and one thing led to the other one, and you start locally and then you keep going from there. We have an issue, maybe we don't say no. So you keep getting involved in in more and more projects, and you enjoy them, and it's fun because it's fun to work with these people and with the betterment of our profession. So you get involved, you get engaged, basically. So
Absolutely. Now, you went through your local leadership, then your state leadership, and then to the ADA. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
actually, in Miami, we have a local chapter besides having the local component. So I started at that level, the grassroots level, with the Greater Miami district, and then I went to the more local chapter, which is the South Florida component, and I became actually president of our component. And I was, remember, pregnant at that time, and for some reason I got in the ADA's news. I was reading it and I saw that they had just opened something called the Institute for Diversity in Leadership. But at that time, you needed to have at least 5 years of experience. And I remember that I hadn't been in practice for 5 years yet. So I waited, and then I applied and I got accepted. So that was my first interaction with the ADA. I think that the institute was wonderful. It was like, those leadership classes that you get, that you're craving, that you want, classes in negotiation skills, things like that, that they really helped me a lot back then. And then I became basically, met my trustee at that time. And again, he was telling me, so what do you think that we should be differently? And I gave him some possibilities, ideas, and he told me, you know what, maybe you should consider serving at some point in the new dentist committee at the ADA level, and appointed me. Also because I was the youngest of the group, the one who met the criteria, and I was actually on my 4th year on the new dentist committee term, because when they appoint you, you serve for that length of time. And I remember that we were all discussing that the ADA needed, the perspective of the younger dentists, that, how could we do to have more voices at the table of the Board of Trustees. And at that point, and I have to throw her on the bus, Carol Summerhay said, Irene, why don't you consider maybe running for the vice presidency position? Would you? And I think that, sometimes we don't think of those things, but you get the little push of the person that they see that maybe you can do it. And you know what? I said, why not? I see your point. We have been fighting for 4 years here that we want to be sitting at the table. So maybe if I do it, more people will follow. So that could be a situation for us to replicate in the future. And that's how I decided to basically give it a try and see if I would get elected.
And you did fabulously. Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about, the experience of being on the ADA podium and sitting in the Board of Trustees meetings and finding out all the, intimate details behind the scenes, things that everybody's working on. I mean, there's so much going on at the ADA level all the time.
No, I hear you. I think that most dentists don't even have an idea of how much do they work on our behalf. There's always something, it's a national organization. So there are things happening in so many states and regions that they have to deal with, solve, provide resources, solutions. So it is very busy. They're working really there's always something. There's never a dull moment in that board table, but it's very enlightening. They're wonderful. They're very bright, and I think that they're doing a great job. It's just, it's a big country where so many dentists, and There's always, either the government or things that are threatening our profession. So, somebody has to cover your back, basically. So I think that that's what they're doing, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah, they sure are. And anybody that didn't see what the ADA did over this past year in 2020 is just blind, as far as I can see, because it's been amazing the amount of content that has come out, the amount of support that they have given to their members throughout all of this COVID craziness, that I can't say enough about the ADA. I just think that it's a great organization, just a great organization. So tell us a little bit about the impact that had on you professionally. Did you see that it was a great thing for you to be in organized dentistry at such a high level? Did it impact your practice at all? And, just any kind of repercussions that you've had?
Well, initially it did. I served for a period of 2 years. And one of those 2 years, I was actually out of my practice for 45 business days. So of course that carries an impact in terms of, your availability, your patience. But for some reason, maybe I'm a solo practitioner and I was able to accommodate the schedule in such a way that it worked out. But I had to go to meetings and things of this. I basically didn't sleep in my bed for 60 days. Okay, so, but you do it and you're enjoying it, and you see that it's meaningful, and basically you commit and you're doing it with a lot of happiness, to put it this way. But it did have an impact in the practice, of course. I think that I'm glad that I was able to manage it, and I don't think it's impossible. I think that with a little bit of organization and establishing priorities, and I have 2 kids, it can be done. I have to admit that my mother helped me at home, so that's also how, that's how you can make it happen as well. If you have a little bit of support, you need your support. It takes a village sometimes. Yeah,
it does. We all need it.
It was doable.
Absolutely.
It's doable. That's all I'm saying. And sometimes it doesn't have to be to that level of commitment, but I think that we all can do a little bit and participate and help.
Well, just do what you can, right? With where you are in your life. All of us have been busy. As young practitioners, we're busy setting up our practices. As older practitioners, we're busy, trying to wind down. So we're trying to maximize our time there, but we're all busy. And it's just like having a baby. There's never a perfect time, right?
Exactly.
You just do it. You just do it because you can't wait to hug that little baby. Anyway, tell me the single best piece of advice you've gotten in your career. It could be somebody in dentistry. It doesn't have to be.
Listen, I think that my father used to tell me, do not compare yourself with others. Compete with yourself. He used to say it a little bit differently. Like invest in yourself and just mind your own business. And I think that that's really something that I want to instill in my children, because I thought that it was a great piece of advice growing up. You always need to be better, learn, keep pushing yourself, and don't look to the sides, just focus on you. So I think that that was good advice, and I still, use it on a daily basis. So I think that I would have to share that. Now, me personally, I heard that I was hearing, I heard the other day I think it was a TED Talk, and the speaker, who was from Australia, who was winning an award, said something that I remember, and I like it very much. And he basically said, you don't need to be an original. You need to be an improver, to be and do things differently and better. So I think that one, to me, at this point in my life, it resonates a lot, because basically, let's try to do things better, and you don't need to be the first one to do them. You just need to improve them.
That's really a good advice. Really good advice. Who's made the biggest impact on your life? Was it your parents? Because you sound like you're really close to your parents.
I think that my parents, I mean, my mom has been always like to me, like my role model, simply because I see myself now at my age, kind of replicating what she did when she was younger. She was involved in organized dentistry too. She used to teach the dental school. So I find myself kind of mimicking a little bit her steps. So I have to understand that, yes, she caused a big impact in my life because I see myself now, copying her, I guess, to put it this way. But I also see other women now that, professionally, women like Kathy O'Laughlin, Carol Summerhays, Linda Neeson. I see them now, and I know that they're women who have broken the glass ceiling. They're really inspirational, motivational. They have helped us all, and I think that they have caused an impact professionally and in my clinic. I mean, my office, I see some master clinicians doing these wonderful things that they push you basically to try to learn and be better every day for your patients.
Absolutely. Now, are there any obstacles that you've had to overcome in dentistry that you found either in dental school or along the way?
I think that many. I mean, I'm not from here. I'm from Venezuela, and I see myself now, and with what gratitude I see that I have accomplished, many things, and I think that you just need to have the right mindset, and obstacles can be overcome, and you can just need to work hard for what you want, and just do it. So I have had many obstacles that I think that I have successfully, I think that I have taken the opportunities that have presented to me, I have taken the risk, accepted them, and thankfully I look back and I'm living my American dream. So, I'm grateful for that, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You seem to be extremely confident, and I'm wondering if that was learned or if you were that way when you were younger. Is it something that you've always had?
I feel very honestly like with age, I have become more confident. I think that it's something that you basically develop at the beginning, like everybody. And still, I have my days that I second guess myself. Am I doing the right thing? You like overthink too much. And that, takes away maybe the confidence. But you need to be fearless. Why not? It's not that why am I going to do this? It's like, why not? And take the risk. And I think that, it's something that it can be learned. That's all I'm saying. You just need to, you're very confident with many of the things that how you run your house, and you become very confident the way you speak to your patients. So it's just a matter of, I need to give a speech, just trust that you can give a good speech and it's going to come, it's going to flow. I remember that when I was applying to my perio program back 20 years ago, almost, I think now that I wasn't confident enough, but I look back and I remember that I went to an ADA meeting, and I remember that Jim Melanick was giving a lecture in one of the halls, and I waited for him until he was done because I just had an interview in San Antonio and I couldn't basically meet with him because he was the AAP Academy president that year and he was traveling a lot. And I basically waited until everybody was done asking him questions, and I said, Dr. Melanick, I was supposed to have an interview with you 3 days ago and you were trapped, but I'm here. Is it possible to you to interview me now? Listen, I'm running, I'm catching a plane. Walk with me to my car and that will be your interview. And I walked with him.
Wow, good for you.
So now I think that I see that maybe I have had the confidence all this time, and basically you don't see it, but I think that we don't have anything to lose. I think that we need to be just go-getters and
Speak up, right? Speak up, ask the question. Don't be afraid. That's great. Who today really inspires you in dentistry?
well, because I'm back and more concentrated into my clinical practice, I right now I'm seeing these wonderful European master clinicians like, Iñaki Gambarenya and Sukeli and all these great perionage, and I get inspired by them when I see what they're able to do, and you know, it's really inspiring, and I want to just do it the same. So that's what I'm looking for right now in this stage of my life, basically. But as I said before, professionally, that's where I am right now. But I see very strong women like Maxine, like Carol, like Kathy, and I'm like, wow, they have accomplished so much, and that no, I want to be them when I grow up, basically.
Right, right. That's great. That's really great. I think that fuel of inspiration is what moves us forward, right? Because your heart wants to go where it makes you feel so good. And watching them makes us all feel good. And they are extremely accomplished. And not that you are not that many of us are not, but it's the fuel, it's the inspiration fuel that makes you move forward for that. That's great. That's great. What would be one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
Well, secretly, I'm a handyman. I'm the one doing everything around the house in terms of drilling, hanging, what you name it. I just like it. Let's go to whatever IKEA and assemble. That's me. And the kids watch me do it, and my husband laugh at this point. But you know what? It takes the stress away. Whatever I'm doing, it's like the arts and craft part of it. It's part of my nature. So I love doing all those things.
Now, do you do contracting and build things?
Not to that. No, only at my house.
Very good. Very good. Okay, that's great. Now, have you ever had an aha moment where you realize, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I was supposed to be doing with my life?
Well, I think that, motherhood was a great, I think that your first personal real aha moment. And professionally, I think that every time I finish a case with a patient, it is a small aha moment, but that brings you a lot of satisfaction, and it's great. It's what you love to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you're stressed, because we all know that this profession can be stressful, what's your favorite way to manage it?
Well, I like to decompress and, either take a long bath, walk around, I live in a little island, so walking around the island, it's very relaxing, or going to the beach because I live in Miami. So those are, or occasionally having a glass of wine. It's okay to decompress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with wine. Absolutely not. Secret pleasure of mine on a regular basis. Absolutely. Do you have a motto or a mantra that you live by?
Right now I'm always like trying to remember, internally, be fearless. Just do it. It's like the Nike commercial. Just do it. Sometimes we get stuck and we don't act, and it takes us too long to take decisions. So right now it's seriously just like, why not? Just do it. And I think that it just works.
Now, you have a boy and a girl, I think, right?
I do.
Yeah. And so, as a mom, I wonder how you pass this along to your children, because I'm finding it as a grandmother, finding it fascinating to watch my daughter pass on some of this information to her son and my future granddaughter's coming in 2 weeks. So I'm extremely excited about that. But, I'm just curious, how do you pass those things on to your children?
Well, especially with my daughter, I think that I'm trying to teach her to seriously be tough, because I think that that's something that I'm teaching her to be smart, not that, being beautiful is secondary. So I'm trying to I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to raise her as a boy, but I'm really, really pushing her to be more confident and to speak up and to do all these things that we know that sometimes it's just more challenging as women, because we are taught that you need to please, that you need to be a good girl. And I think that it's okay sometimes just to, be stronger and be tougher and just, so that's what I'm trying to instill in her and him too. I'm not trying to be so overly protective. Like, are you hurt? Yeah. Does it hurt? Is it hurt that much that you're crying? Then don't cry. I'm trying to really pass it along because I think that it will help them better in the future.
Oh my gosh, great advice. Great advice. Do you have a guilty pleasure or a secret dream that you want to share with the audience?
Well, occasionally I have to say that my guilty pleasure involves watching Netflix. Maybe I become, with the right show, a binge watcher. So
that's good.
Say that, there have been some, like Game of Thrones. I didn't watch it until like one of the last seasons, and then I couldn't stop watching it.
Right. You get sucked right in.
Yes, very. And it is a guilty pleasure because it steals my time, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here today, Irene. I know how busy you are, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart because, women today need to know how important organized dentistry is and organized, associations, whether you're a hygienist, an assistant, it's important to become involved, and it's important to raise your hand and say, yes, I volunteer, because, we need younger people coming in and inspiring us and continuing on this journey for us into the future. So thank you on behalf of all of them for your insights and guidance, because I know that you've helped somebody today. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. I want to convey the message that we really need more women involved, not just in organized dentistry, but in academics, as deans, as speakers. We really, really want to see more women dentists everywhere. And I hope that you all can simply step up and help us, help the profession in any way you want.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you so much for listening to the Women in Dentistry podcast with Dr. MJ Hanlon. If you like our show and want to know more about us, check out our website, thewomenindentistry.com, or please leave us a review on iTunes. Join us for our next episode as we bring you another amazing woman leading the way for the next generation.